the vocabulary of genetic crosses. We need to understand a variety of words and phrases so that we may complete questions on genetics and the crossing of individuals. The first is gene, which is a locus on a chromosome that codes for a particular trait. The locus is just a position. Allele is a variation of a gene created by mutation. A dominant allele is an allele that can mask another allele. The recessive allele is an allele that can be masked by a dominant allele. Lethal alleles are a combination of alleles that lead to the death of an individual, usually via apoptosis. This means the individual is not born and it affects the genotypic and phenotypic ratios. Epistasis is the masking of a recessive allele by the dominant allele. Homozygous is when both the alleles are the same for a gene, for example, big A, or little a. Heterozygous means two different alleles for the same gene, for example, big A, little a. Homozygous means having two different sex chromosomes, which results in there being only one allele for a gene, as the allele does not exist on the other sex chromosome. For example, XY for humans or XZ for birds and fish. Genotype is the alleles an organism has for a particular trait. Phenotype is how the trait looks to the environment. Traits can be expressed morphologically, biochemically, physiologically, or behaviourally. Monogenic means the phenotype of a trait is decided by only one gene. Polygenic means the phenotype of a trait is decided by many genes. Punnett square is the box-like structure that allows us to illustrate the cross between two individuals. The law of segregation is the fact that usually there is only one allele per gamete. Genotypic ratio is the ratio between different genotypes. Phenotypic ratio is the ratio between different phenotypes. Complete dominance is where there is one dominant allele and one recessive allele. The dominant allele will mask the recessive allele in the heterozygote. This is called epistasis. Codominance means at least two dominant alleles exist for a gene. Both dominant alleles will be expressed in the heterozygote. An example of codominant traits is blood groups. In incomplete dominance, at least two dominant alleles exist for the gene. Both dominant alleles will be expressed as a blend in the heterozygote. An example of this is a red flower crossed with a white flower to give a pink flower. Continuous variation is when many phenotypes are possible due to polygenics. And discontinuous variation, only a few possible phenotypes exist due to the trait being monogenic.